Before Antarctica appears, the world begins to disappear. Color drains first, sound fades next. And then distance itself loses meaning. The horizon stretches endlessly, a pale white line dissolving into sky, where direction no longer matters and scale no longer exists. This is not a land that welcomes arrival, it resists it. Antarctica is not a continent you enter, it is a force you endure. Here, cold is not a season, it is a permanent state of violence. Winds accelerate without warning, tearing across the ice at speeds that can strip exposed skin in seconds. Temperatures plunge far below human tolerance, cold enough to freeze breath before it escapes the lungs. Metal becomes brittle, machines fail, and the silence presses so hard it feels physical. Antarctica holds nearly 70% of the planet's fresh water, locked inside ice sheets miles thick. Beneath your feet, glaciers move slowly toward the sea, grinding mountains into dust with a sound too deep for human ears. This ice remembers everything. Each layer traps ancient air, preserved like a time capsule from worlds long gone. At the heart of the continent lies the polar plateau, a vast interior so cold and dry it qualifies as a desert. Snow here rarely melts. It simply accumulates year after year, century after century, until the weight reshapes the land beneath it. Standing here feels like standing on the roof of time itself, yet Antarctica is not empty. Hidden beneath the ice are lakes sealed away for millions of years, completely isolated from sunlight, atmosphere, and the modern world. Scientists drill carefully, afraid of contamination, afraid of what they might awaken. In these dark waters, life may exist in forms never seen before, organisms that evolved without light, without warmth, without mercy. Along the coast, where ice fractures meet the Southern Ocean, the continent reveals brief flashes of movement. Emperor penguins march across the frozen expanse, surviving temperatures that would kill almost any other creature. Seals breathe through narrow cracks in the ice. Whales surface in black water edged with jagged ice shelves. Life clings here not because the land allows it, but because evolution demanded it. As the sun circles endlessly during the Antarctic summer, never setting, the landscape becomes surreal. Shadows stretch without direction. Time feels suspended. And the mind struggles to accept that this place is real. So alien, so unforgiving, it feels more like another planet than part of Earth. But the deeper truth of Antarctica lies inland, far from the coast, far from movement, far from life as we understand it, because beyond the storms, beyond the wildlife, beyond the thin line where humans can still function, there is a region so hostile that even Antarctica seems gentle by comparison. And that is where this journey truly begins. As you move farther inland, Antarctica becomes something else entirely. The wind strengthens, screaming across the plateau with a force that feels intentional, as if the continent itself is pushing back. Snow no longer falls from the sky. It travels sideways, cutting across the land in blinding sheets of ice. Visibility collapses, direction loses meaning. The world becomes white noise. Here, the cold changes behavior. It no longer chills, it attacks. Exposed skin freezes in moments. Moisture vanishes from the air. Breathing becomes painful, each inhale sharp enough to burn the lungs. Even sound behaves differently, swallowed by the vastness, leaving behind an unsettling silence broken only by the wind. Beneath the endless ice lies a hidden world. Radar scans reveal mountain ranges taller than the Alps, valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon, all buried under kilometers of frozen weight. These landscapes have not seen sunlight for millions of years. They exist in darkness, untouched, unknown. Far below, subglacial lakes remain sealed beneath the ice, isolated from the surface since before humans existed. Scientists believe some of these waters have been cut off for over 15 million years. If life exists there, it has evolved without light, without seasons, without change. The ice above them moves constantly, flowing like a slow frozen river. It creaks and groans under its own weight, releasing deep, thunder-like sounds that echo across the empty land. This is the sound of a continent in motion. As the sun circles endlessly in the sky during summer, never setting, time begins to blur. Shadows stretch without direction, sleep loses structure, the body struggles to adjust. Antarctica does not follow human rhythms, it obeys its own, and yet this frozen world holds enormous power. The ice reflects sunlight back into space, helping regulate the planet's temperature. The surrounding Southern Ocean drives global currents that influence weather thousands of miles away. What happens here shapes the fate of continents far beyond the horizon. But this balance is fragile. Cracks form in massive ice shelves along the coast. Entire sections collapse into the sea, releasing icebergs larger than cities. When they break free, the sound carries for miles. a deep, echoing fracture that feels like the planet tearing itself apart. Antarctica does not change quickly, but when it does, the consequences reach the entire Earth. As winter approaches, Antarctica descends into darkness. The sun disappears below the horizon and does not return for months. Temperatures plummet even further, sinking to levels that push beyond human understanding. In some regions, the cold becomes the coldest ever recorded on Earth. The air thickens with ice crystals, sparkling faintly in the dim light like frozen dust suspended in space. This is polar night. Research stations become isolated islands of light in an endless black world. Outside their walls, survival depends on discipline and precision. One mistake, one delayed repair, one exposed valve can turn fatal. Antarctica offers no second chances. The wind rises again, howling across the ice at hurricane speeds. It sculpts the snow into sharp ridges, erases footprints within minutes, and buries anything left unattended. The land constantly resets itself, wiping away evidence of human presence. And yet above this frozen silence, the sky comes alive. Auroras ripple across the darkness, curtains of green and violet light dancing silently overhead. They shimmer and fade, painting the ice with fleeting color before vanishing once more. In these moments, the continent feels less like a place and more like a living phenomenon. Beneath the ice, pressure builds, glaciers grind forward. Meltwater flows unseen through tunnels carved deep within the frozen mass. Heat rises from the Earth's crust below, quietly reshaping the ice from underneath. Antarctica is not static. It is slow, powerful, and relentless. Standing here surrounded by darkness and cold, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. This continent was never meant to belong to us. It exists beyond human ambition, beyond conquest, beyond control. It does not threaten, it does not warn. It simply continues, indifferent to those who attempt to enter its domain. Antarctica is not hostile out of anger. It is hostile out of purity, a place that has remained almost exactly as it was when the world was young. And as the wind sweeps across the frozen plateau, erasing every trace of your presence, you realize something deeply unsettling. Even if humanity vanished tomorrow, Antarctica would remain. Unchanged, unbothered, unreachable. As the long Antarctic night stretches on, the wind begins to slow. Not because the land is softened, but because it no longer needs to prove anything. The ice settles into stillness, locking the continent inside a silence so deep it feels eternal. No footsteps remain, no voices echo. Even the wind seems to retreat, leaving behind a frozen world suspended between time and nothingness. Far beneath the surface, the ice continues its ancient movement. Glaciers crawl toward the sea, grinding mountains into dust with patience measured in millennia. Pressure builds, release follows. The continent breathes, slowly, deliberately, unaware of the small lives that occasionally cross its edges. Antarctica does not remember us. It remembers ice ages. It remembers supervolcanoes. It remembers a world before forests, before animals, before sound itself carried meaning. This land has seen oceans rise and vanish, continents drift apart, skies fill with ash. And through it all, Antarctica endured, unchanged in spirit, untouched in purpose. Here, at the bottom of the world, survival is never guaranteed. There are no second chances, no forgiveness, only precision, discipline, and respect. Those who misunderstand this place do not leave stories behind, they simply disappear. And yet, despite its hostility, Antarctica plays a quiet, essential role in keeping the planet alive. Its ice cools the Earth, its oceans regulate climate. Its frozen mass stabilizes the balance that allows life to exist far beyond its shores. This is the great paradox of Antarctica, a land that rejects life, yet protects it. As the faint glow of dawn finally returns to the horizon, light creeps slowly across the ice, igniting the frozen surface in pale gold. For a brief moment, the continent appears calm, almost gentle. But the illusion does not last. The cold remains, the silence returns, and the land resumes its watch. Antarctica was never meant to be conquered, never meant to be owned, never meant to be understood. It exists as a boundary, a reminder that Earth still holds places beyond human reach, where nature speaks alone and humanity listens, or vanishes. This is Antarctica, the continent that rejects life, a world untouched, a world enduring, a world forever unreachable.